Hello and welcome to Taku. Today we'll be talking about things that we have watched. I have with me Blaze Vincent
So,
and Rock God Itachi.
Hello.
So we'll talk about the things we have been watching since the last time that we made our podcast, like the things we have been watching. So to start off, I will go to Blaze Vincent because he always has something to say about this.
I, I watched 23 things, so I'm now looking at a list of what to even talk about. Um, well, I know that you really love Lucky Star, and I finished Lucky Star. I finished the last 8 episodes. That show is really lethargic. Like, it's so slow and quiet, but despite not having all the zaniness of a like an Azumanga Daioh or something, it's a good show. I don't know how much I'm crazy about the Moe stuff because of all like chibi characters and that kind of gets into like weird territory sort of thing. But yeah, it's really good. Although my only negative against it is I always have more laughs at the Lucky Channel segment at the end of each episode than the actual show itself, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And even the ending credits for half of the seasons made me laugh more than the actual
Yeah.
show on occasion. So
I think the show is the best bit, to be honest, but I think Lucky Channel is hilarious. I mean, a dual personality idol and a guy they brought in off the street doing commentary on that kind of show is pretty damn hilarious.
well, the guy that they brought off the street is actually the voice actor playing himself. Like it's
Yeah, I
actually
know.
meant to be the actual guy. It's
Like
pretty.
in the ending segments of the last half of the show, like the second season, I guess you could call it,
Mm,
it's just him walking around and singing a bunch of really weird
yeah,
songs.
I love it.
Like
I think it's. I just found that stuff more hilarious than the actual show sometimes.
I loved how the karaoke bit at the end of like with the first season, one bit it's just like she starts singing the theme tune from Dragon Ball Z and I thought, the one song I actually recognize them singing.
I do. I did really enjoy the one part of the TV show. I did really enjoy was going through with the. I can't remember how you say it. Liner notes, I think they're called. So basically, all like the references that I might not get, like the cultural references in the show. And I enjoyed following those, and being able to understand some of the jokes better, and all the little hints of like say what's the blue haired lit girl called again? I'm terrible with names.
Konata Izumi.
Okay, kind of like like when she was like just reading things like Susan Mia and just some of the logic that she comes out with about being a Taku and all that. It was really good, but it never made me truly laugh out loud until the end. And considering it like I said, like Lucky Channel, the ending credits is like considering it's a comedy, it could be considered like a downer on its part. But then you said you enjoyed. Did you ever laugh like out loud while watching the
Well,
actual
the thing
show?
is, yeah, because over my 10 plus viewings, I've slowly come to understand the cultural jokes a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess it's more like a if you like slice of life a lot, then you'll probably enjoy Lucky Star. Like if you like calm, slightly boring, basic shows with otaku references and basic characters, then you'll get a kick out of Lucky Star.
It's all about the dialogue. There's literally nothing else happens in the show.
Well, yeah,
It's
that's kind
all
of the point.
dialogue.
Well,
Yeah.
that to look forward to.
I remember one thing that did also like trying not to be too negative. I remember one thing that bothered me was how Kanata actually like she has like normal eyes. We see them a couple of times in like certain sequences where you can actually see her eyes open. So to have her eyes closed and have like that closed eye character trait like so many anime characters have, it started to bother me afterwards. I was like, what? Just can we just have our eyes open because we know what they look like? Like when you have a closed eye character, normally that's all you ever see, are like two lines on their face for the
I
entire
I,
thing.
I thought that was pretty awesome. I
It
think that was
bothered
like
me because I was like, we know what her eyes look like, so all I could envision in my head was her constantly with her eyes closed because we know what they're like when they're open. So it's not like this is just what her eyes look like. So
I
no,
think it was more
shut the
portraying the
whole.
fact that she was a bit of a slacker and she was always quite tired and not really
Yeah, I,
excited about a lot of things. I mean, I guess that's because obviously one of the big things about Konata and her character is that she doesn't want to do anything that involves effort. So
yeah.
just moving about in normal time with nothing exciting happening that makes her excited, she's just gonna be really bored all the time.
Mm. It's definitely one of the better Kyoto animation shows I've watched so far, which isn't many, honestly, but it's certainly one of the better ones.
Well, that Clannad, K-On!
Suzumiya's
Oh yeah,
Kyoto.
that's pretty good. Well, season one, season two was half good.
Yeah. Well, the half good would then imply that it's just the original season you liked when they repeated it.
Yeah,
So
pretty
the
much.
actual
Just like,
second season just sucks, whatever
well,
it
yeah,
is.
well, the second season, like the episodes that aren't Endless Eight are actually pretty good. Like Endless Eight episode 1 and 8 are good. It's just a case of like they're boring throughout if you
Yeah.
keep watching them over and over.
It just seems crazy to me that even exists as a thing. Honestly, like the endless say, I haven't experienced it yet, and I will at some point. But it's one of the most craziest things ever. I would love to know what went through their minds when they thought, yeah, let's do this. This is
It's
a good idea.
basically it's your basic summer episode of an anime repeated 8 times with very slight differences until like halfway through where they realize that it's all, repeating and can't do anything about it until the last episode when the guy says, "Let's do homework."
It's
That
just
that's it. Like for the entire season, they're putting off their summer homework, and then he's just like, "Great idea." As she's walking out the cafe, she's like, "No, I'm not done with summer yet. I want to do homework." And then it all stops, and
yeah.
they find out from like the like kind of robot-ish girl that they have went through hundreds of lifetimes in this world, so
Mm,
it's not just 8 times.
yeah.
Millions and billions, and it's the endless eight for me. I got to the point where I was gonna just turn it off. The thing is, I never knew anything about it. So this is something. If you go in cold and you have no idea what the endless eight is, you're gonna sit there and think, okay, am I watching the same episode again, or have I clicked on to the same episode again? Because
Yeah,
this is the same, and my mind can't register this. The fact that I have put the DVD in, I've watched an episode, and yet the next episode is starting exactly the same as the episode I've just watched.
All I can think is like someone at Kyoto Animation obviously like pocketed some money because you think you got a whole budget for a 14 episode season and you spend eight episodes, which is more than half, just changing the odd coloring, which I doubt is very expensive, and
what
the
they
odd
did
placement of
actually.
stuff. And it's just the other thing that's crazy about it is it's like if that show was on in the summer, I don't know which season it was aired, but that's 2 months of solid programming about the same thing. Like every week, you're tuning back in for 2 solid months. It's insane.
The worst thing
Absolutely crazy.
is,
It reminds me of when I looked up Dragon Ball Z. You know the Frieza saga. I don't know if
Yeah,
Dave's watched it, but
the 30 episode fight,
I've not
wasn't it?
seen any Dragon Ball Z yet.
yeah, it was
It was like
just
30 episodes for
yeah,
one fight,
it's a ridiculously long fight. But the thing I'm going to mention, there's no spoilers to it, but
the
basically
5 minute thing.
yeah, they have like fight like this. Someone mentioned something to do with 5 minutes, and then
Till the
five
planet
episodes
blows up.
later, it's still 5 minutes. And all I keep thinking is that someone had to watch the Freezer saga on a weekly basis in Japan when that was on. Like I was able to get through it in an afternoon and whatever, but so, I just can't imagine watching that for 13 blooming weeks constantly, the same freaking fight every episode where basically all that's happening is the two characters staring at each other going ah ah just like
Well,
powering
the thing
up
is,
before they
kids
can
in kids in
finally
the UK and
explode.
America had to do it when it was coming out as well, but like they had to do
Yeah,
the
but I
same
imagine when
thing.
it was on in America there was no way it was on a weekly basis. That would have been on via syndication, which means it would have been on every day in the afternoon. I
Yes,
can't imagine Dragon Ball Z was broadcast on a weekly basis in America because it's just yeah,
I've
it's a
got that
kids show which is
too,
done by syndication.
and I do get
Different.
Dragon Ball Z.
But anyway, yeah. I watched Lucky Star, not Dragon Ball Z or Harry. I watched Lucky
You
Star.
watched Lucky Star, yeah. We go
It's
back to
one
that.
of the million things I watched since we last did this.
so the what other have you watched?
Well, I thought you like switching around to someone else before I go on another tirade.
Well, the thing is,
Something.
we've got a fair amount of time, and
Well,
it's only
no, it's
two
just
other
so
things.
like you
So,
can come back to me, just like
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay.
someone else go on.
So, we'll go back to Blaze later with his two other shows in his tirade. But now for Dave, Rock God Itachi, what have you been watching?
Oh God. mainly Dragon Ball.
Lots
And
and lots of
Dragon Ball for me, I was expecting to go into this very sort of macho, pumped fighting show, and it seems to me that this is more perverted fan service comedy,
Well,
which
the thing
Definitely
is,
surprised me when I found it. I didn't find out that from
surprised
you,
me.
but when I remember looking it up, I was like, wait a minute, this is like the precursor to Dragon Ball Z. It's like completely different.
that's the thing. A lot of people basically thing is Dragon Ball was more like a comedy, and that's what pretty much everyone says. Like there was action, but it was mainly just quite a strange comedy in a shonen magazine. And Dragon Ball Z was kind of like when they grew up and realized that they had muscles and they could do stuff. So instead of making all the comedy, they decided to make really, really long fights and lots of screaming.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I've got to say, from what I watched today, I'm obviously not going to spoil it, but I've seen the best use of fan service ever. I'm not kidding. It made me laugh so much. I've got to put it up there with probably one of the most funniest moments that I've seen of this year.
Oh, what
Best.
was it?
Well, there's a fight that's going on between Goku and no, you see, sorry a minute. There's an arc where you've got this fortune teller called Baba, and she's got 5 fighters, and Goku needs to find the last Dragon Ball, and she said she will find the last Dragon Ball for him if they can beat her 5 fighters.
Mm-hmm.
So Kirin goes up and doesn't do too well, and then the next one goes up and it's Yamcha, and
Yeah,
he
I'm sure.
beats
Yeah.
an invisible man. And Kirin comes up with the most ingenious idea: bring Bulma and Muten Roshi here at once, Goku. And Goku's like, okay. He goes and gets them, and he just places Bulma next to the ring with Muten Roshi facing her, and does something completely outrageous. You just couldn't believe it, and it really works. It helps the amateur win the fight. It's
What
just
did he do?
I can't tell you. It spoil it.
I'm not gonna watch Dragon Ball.
But what about other people who might watch it?
Oh yeah, we're gonna spoil the one comedy fan service moment. You evil, horrible bastard! You ruined
Yeah,
the
I
entire
think
show for me.
that's okay. You can tell us.
All right, okay. What happens is that he puts Bulma there. Mutamoshi's standing at the front. He goes behind Bulma, pulls her top down, and Mutamoshi, blood out the nose, goes over Bulma, lands on the guy who's invisible. He goes red, and you can see him. And then Yamacha kicks the crap out of him. It's just
See,
like,
the thing with Yamcha and Krillin is basically throughout the entire series, the minute they get to Dragon Ball Z, they're almost useless characters. Like the Blaze, pretty much, like you can see, like in the Namek saga, pretty much by Frieza, they can do nothing, and that's what it's
Yeah.
like for the rest of the series. They can't really do anything.
Mm.
They're just useless characters. They just
Well,
stand by
they're
and
always side characters. That's all they've ever been.
but they actually had a bit of strength originally, but now they're just kind of like useless. They just stand by the side with their wives going, ah,
Well, they're
Goku's
not
doing well.
Saiyans, are they? Really? So that's why.
well, I've got to admit, from what I've seen of Dragon Ball so far, I've really enjoyed it. I still can't get my head around the fact that I was 1 year old when it came out.
And me and
In my
Grant
pram
watched.
going wah wah wah. You know, I'm still in my pram going wah wah wah. But basically, I just can't get my head around it, how it really pushes the boundaries for a show like that. Because you, again, you know, this is Japan, and Japan obviously have their own rules. But if you was to put that on TV today, I think it would be banned.
The
Just
thing is,
fan
A lot of
service,
Japanese
racism,
retro shows
you know,
have
when he pulled her top
perverseness,
down,
everything in it.
the thing is that what way were they facing Bulma?
Hmm?
What way were they facing Bulma?
You see it. You
Well, so
see it.
it's not from the back, it's from the front.
Yeah, he
Mm.
put.
Well, regardless, any action like that wouldn't have been on any of the kids shows we watched. But in
Hmm.
Japan,
Blue
it's
Peter had some racy stuff.
hmm?
Blue Peter had some racy stuff.
Blue Peter. I've got to admit, the Dragon Ball was it's really surprised me with the whole pervertedness going through it. Muten Roshi is definitely one of the most perverted characters I've ever met.
It's definitely a show that I want to watch, but I haven't even finished Dragon Ball Z yet, and the idea of watching a less story and a less action type show where I can kind of just click my brain off. There's something that's not so episodic like I imagine the original series is, just based in that universe, frightens me when it's 163, 5 episodes long or something.
150, 152 or 153, something like that.
I think it's the 60s. I'm sure.
I don't know. I'll have a
Or
look.
whatever, but yeah, like the idea that Dragon Ball Z is 291, I'm not even halfway through that yet. The idea of, I mean, I want to and I will buy them, but holy shit, that's a task and a half to uh, put myself through, I think. And very brave man, Dave, for going into that without any of the knowledge really, apart from what you've just heard and experienced about
150,
Dragon Ball Z. To not know anything about Dragon Ball Z and go into that is a
Yeah, I do
thing
have
in
to.
some
I
ways, but
do.
it's also a crazy thing as well.
153.
Yeah.
I do have to commend you, Dave, for the fact that all the big series that everybody talks about all the time says, "Oh, everybody knows that." You don't even know what a saying is. I have to say that is great self-control, not knowing what a saying is and not knowing what it's all about, because pretty much every anime fan knows it, and therefore Dragon Ball Z, there's no real big twists or anything. But you're gonna feel like a kid when you're watching that show, so good for you.
To be honest with you, like I said in the last podcast, I don't buy into the hype. And if anyone says to me about a show, then I go and check it out. But I don't go to the point of trying to find out all what it's about.
Dragon Ball
I love to
Z
go in
doesn't
cold.
really.
I
Dragon
love
Ball
to,
Z doesn't really have hype though.
you know,
It's
I
more
love to go
basically
in.
masses of nostalgia.
That is
Yeah.
just going in cold is what I like. You know, you go in there and you just don't know what to expect. And sometimes you're like, oh wow, this is really amazing, and I love it. And then other times you go in and you think, right, don't really know what's going on here. Like I felt with Black Rock Shooter,
Mm.
sort of sitting there going, have no idea what's going on, enjoying it, but have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, and then other times you just sit there and think, what the am I watching? When did I get to the point in my life where I'm sitting watching this?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I love about anime is it throw anything at you.
That's definitely one of I find most appealing things about it is just the breadth of stuff on offer. Well, even though that is slowly being neutered by harem after harem from
It's kind
every
of like
single season and stuff. And let's
it's
put
like a
away
double-edged
harem.
sword, to be honest. Because, like, among all the great stuff, all these new interesting shows, there is always going to be that one show that tries to be original, interesting, but it really just turns out to be a really bad romance series where a guy eats his girlfriend's, or girlfriend eats the guy's spit. Seriously, the
I know what show
concept
you're
for
talking about.
the
I don't know what
concept
show
for
you're talking about, but I'm slightly worried what you're.
Mysterious Girlfriend.
Mysterious Girlfriend X, the concept for that show just sounds so fucked up. I've heard one guy who's known for enjoying his fair share of harems and hentai saying it's a pretty good show, but from what I've heard, it's basically a girl who's going out with a guy because she likes the taste of his spit, or the other way around. What kind of train of thought would lead a creator to think, oh, we should make a romance, but slightly quirky?
They do that a lot in Japan. They kiss in a really weird way.
I think
I don't
Like,
know if you've ever watched any Japanese dramas, but
you're actually
Japanese
bringing.
people kiss in a weird way, like without going into specifics.
Oh god, you're giving me a flashback now of something that my friend told me in college that they met someone who said that they had a vomit fetish.
Charming. Do we need to go into this?
It was just.
right, no,
What have you
no.
watched, Grant?
I couldn't
Right,
believe
I
it
have been
when they
told about
told
this.
me.
Dave, you yourself told me
Yeah.
that we're not supposed to go into
No,
the gutter.
no,
You,
I'll stop there. But I just when I heard that, I just couldn't believe that someone could like that. That's disturbing. That really is.
if this person is listening, they probably are deeply offended. So let's probably just try and move out of the vomit fetish area and move into anime that you've been watching.
Correct. Let's go to Grant.
So I guess it's going to circle one each, and then we just go around. Is that it? How it's working?
Apparently so.
Okay, so anime I've been watching. I've watched a small amount of many series. I guess I should probably talk about Fate Zero. I've watched more episodes of that, and as always, it's really fucking awesome. It's basically, as probably some of you know, it's about summoners and people being spawned in from history to fight in a big war for the Holy Grail, which will grant you any wish that you want. And King Arthur is actually a girl. Whoever knew? I know,
Yeah.
shocking, right? And Alexander the Great is a badass redhead with a fucking awesome beard and a horse. And there's a bunch of the animation is fantastic. Yeah, I have no real idea of what I can say about this other than you should watch it because it is really, really awesome. I don't really have any criticism on it because I can't think of anything bad.
I
Probably
I have yet to watch any of the Fate universe stuff. I've got Fate Stay Night, but I haven't seen it yet.
I've got
well,
it as well now.
Fate Zero is actually a prequel, so you can watch that without actually watching Fate Stay Night, which is, to be honest, a lot more boring than Fate Zero, is what I've heard.
Yeah, I have been interested in it though because one of the reasons just because Saber,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Saber
she's
just looks
she's
awesome.
oh yeah whatever, but like the fact that it's British is
Yes,
kind of cool. She's a British character, just kind
yeah,
of cool.
King Arthur. She's
Yeah.
a badass. She really is.
Okay.
Like they always talk about like, oh, I will fight you with honor, my good warrior, and it's just these two. It constantly like these two characters, Archer and Saber. They always get in fights, but the thing is that when something bad has happened to someone else, they team up to fight others. And like, and the master's like, why didn't you kill him? You had the chance. No, I am an honorable warrior. I will only kill him in an honorable, fair fight. And I'm just like, you're fighting for the Holy Grail. This is not. This should not be fair. There's a man with a gun that can pierce all magic and turn a person's magic on himself. He's a dick. He snogged a woman that wasn't his wife because he could, and he's an ass. And the war is full of asses, to be honest. That is actually a thing I need to say. The characters that aren't, you know, summons are mostly dicks. There's only one that's actually fairly interesting,
Mm.
and the rest are just kind of like you don't like them at all.
Who's the
They're just
guy with the black hair and the gun?
that's that arsehole guy.
No, that's a
Yeah,
shame. He looks the most badass character when I've
he
seen
is
anything,
kind of
so
badass, but the
he
fact
looks really
is
cool.
that at the start in the first episode they make him seem like a good guy, but as the show goes, he just seems very ruthless and he'll use anything to get the job done. But the problem is, it makes him look like an ass in the process. And the other guy, who isn't actually an ass to everyone, is a really wimpy, pussy little kid who has the most badass guy ever, Alexander the Great Rider. You've probably saw images of him before. He's so awesome. He just walks into a place and says, "This is mine. I own it now. I have conquered this place. You must leave."
Yeah,
He buys a pair of trousers and says again, "Have you seen these before? They're called trousers. They are amazing. Look at them. They have pockets. I can put my gold in here once I capture the bank." It's insane. It's awesome. The guy's just awesome. So yeah, other than my fanboying over a show that I can't really describe until you watch it, we should probably move back to Blaze.
okay. I have to pick something else on this ridiculous list that shows how much I waste my life. Okay,
Check his Anime Planet profile.
uh,
It's not really a
I've
waste.
recently finished one of my a show that is going to be vying for my in my for top 10 position in my favorite anime, which is called Honey and Clover. This is a josei show, which is essentially a girl show for girls. But I absolutely fell in love with this show. It's a romance comedy about a bunch of students at a Tokyo art college and just the trial and tribulations of their relationships as they proceed through life. The the way this show goes about doing what it's doing, I fell in love with just how peaceful and how non crazy it is. But it has like zany characters in it, but they're not overly so. It's brilliantly paced, and the way the show begins to the way the first season ends. There's a second season which I'm currently watching, but it connects so well, and the story for the main character Yuta from like the beginning to the end, like he kind of like gets drafted out almost through all the other relationships going through the show. for most of the season. When the way it like comes back around, his journey at the end of the first season is one of the best things I've seen in anime. I absolutely fell in love with that moment. It's just a fantastic series, and it's now becoming one of those things where like anything JC staff that have done, which are the studio behind it, I've kind of am now magnetized to. I just want to see as much of their stuff as possible because I am falling more and more uh, in love and becoming more and more of a fanboy of their productions. They just do some fantastic works. They also did Nadame Cantabile, which is a very similar type show, like Josei, showing people going through a classical music college. This is literally exactly the same formula, in fact, and it's just so well done because it's definitely not aimed at kids. There's no fan service. It's all about real characters, despite the zany stuff. I mean, it's still a TV anime. It's not completely realistic, but so much comedy and so much. Just can't really think of the. Yeah, whatever. I just absolutely adored that show. I think it's absolutely
Fanboying.
fantastic.
It sounds to me like you're saying that it's one of those ones that actually got real depth to it.
Yeah, like
The
the
minute you said
there's real the people feel real. These don't feel like just like zany crazy people that you're watching on the TV or some over the top action hero that if you saw him in real life, despite how badass he looks on the screen, if you actually saw that person walking down the street, you think, God, what an idiot. You look like a complete idiot and you act like an idiot and all these sort of things. They just seem like people that actually live in freaking Japan. These feel like real people. And yes, there's loads of monologues going on where they're like thinking about stuff in their heads or whatever and keep going over things and like there is like pretentious stuff like this is a based on or it's adapted from like a josei manga, so there's loads of like pent up emotions and not being able to say something to the other person and things like that. Then when in real life things might not go as smoothly, or they would go more smoothly. They're just like for the show to create tension, they make it more awkward than it would actually be in real life or whatever. But I just yeah, it's got all the tropes of a chick flick type experience, but I don't care. I absolutely adored that show and practically every character in it. It's got some really really stupid moments that did take me out of the story. There's a particular moment to do with a character that ends up going somewhere and doing something which is completely outrageous, and it's the sort of thing where they it doesn't even have a significant bearing on the show. So for it to like for the character to do this outrageous, quite retarded thing, and the way they go about describing it is just kind of like it kind of seemed pointless, but it does because there's no yeah, it doesn't actually affect anything else in the show after he's done it, so it kind of seemed stupid. But yeah, it's really really good, and it's like JC stuff. It's fantastically well done, but that's obviously probably because it was adapted when it was adapted from the manga. It had a very good source it was adapting from. But the way that show looks is absolutely freaking gorgeous. It's like pastel colors everywhere, fantastic line detail. The yes, you've got like the big stupid like starry-eyed like some characters like for the female characters and stuff. Like it's definitely got the Josei thing going on, but man, oh man, that show was good. I love that show.
well
And I'll
from
stop
your
now.
well from your description of that show, it definitely seems like the kind of show I'd like. I mean,
So,
a genuinely good romance anime is always a great thing. So I actually really want to see Honey and Clover now. And just as you were talking there, I was listening. Don't worry. I was looking up on Amazon. And I realized it's actually fairly expensive. It's
Yeah,
like
it's an expensive show.
$100 for the first season.
what?
Really? I
Yeah,
got
for
I
like
got each part for £25 each, and that's 13 episodes for.
$100 for like the complete all three box sets. I mean,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
you can get it off. Yeah, on Amazon UK it's £25 each, but it's also been released on Australia in its entirety, and you can get that off UP1 for £40, which is the better option. But I really, being the art box type person I am, it doesn't have an art box, but the packaging that Viz Media put out for it is absolutely gorgeous. It's got like a
Well,
tablecloth.
it's not £25 on Amazon anymore. It's £75 for the first box set used.
Really? Well, I
Yeah,
bought it for 25.
I think it's going out of print because Honey and Clover doesn't seem to be a thing most anime fans actually own. Like, if you ever see a
Well, it came
collection,
out a while ago.
yeah, because like it's not it.
Oh yeah,
To be
you're
honest,
right. That's crazy.
I I don't think I've ever actually seen a box set of that in a collection ever. I think it's one of those shows where like the manga was kind of popular, but the anime just fell flat, even though it's actually supposed to be pretty good. And the parts after that are getting fairly expensive.
I think Viz Media are keeping it in print. I've seen, if you've ever watched, like you're not going to see it in too many guys' collections, but you ever watch a girl otaku, like anime fan on YouTube showing their collection, you can almost guarantee that Honey and Clover will appear. So,
I've seen a lot, but I've still never seen Honey and Clover in their
well,
collections ever.
well,
I think I've saw it in one or two, but not many. It doesn't
well,
seem to be a thing a lot of people own.
I say on UP1, if you go to their Australian stuff, it's on there for £40.
It's on there for £44.
Yeah, there you go. Or
Yeah.
you go to the American one, it's only 37. It's actually in stock for immediate delivery, so someone can go and snap that up, and it'll be there within 2 days.
I don't like I don't thing is I don't like buying, Australian sets because of the massive rating logo. So whenever I
Yeah, that
can,
really does bother me. That's why I don't buy them very often either.
e
So,
even if it's a lot more expensive, I'll still go for the American one because like
Yep.
it's better.
I
can
know
I
what you're
tell you
paying. I
something?
know I do exactly the same thing. The ratings on the Australian sets are ridiculous, but their rating system is crazy. So
Yes, yes, and let me tell you something. Every one that I've bought from Australia has a reversible cover.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, the
my
save
Firmate
sets also
Roommate
have a
doesn't.
reversible cover.
My Firmate Roommate doesn't, and my Pokemon one comes in a card slipcase, so no reversible cover.
Surprising because my Orimo had a reversible cover.
Well, that's the only one you bought, though, isn't it? Is that the only Australian set?
Well,
No,
The Audimo from the US also had a reversible cover. I mean, it's Aniplex. They go all out even on a standard release.
It's my favourite thing about American box sets is they don't have any ratings on them at all. Because even the ones in the UK really bother me. Like, if you're gonna put a rating on, put it on the front cover, fine, and make it small. But to put it on the spine as well just drives me crazy. It's like not.
But the Australians couldn't put it on their spine because it's too big, and if they do,
But
that's even
they do
worse.
put it on their spines as well.
Oh
They
God,
put the
that's
letter.
horrible.
They put the letter. But only it's not very big, but they have the giant rating like massive ones because their rating system is extremely strict in Australia.
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
Anyway, yeah, so I watched Honey and Clover. So what else have you been watching, Dave?
Oh. Well, this is. I'm sorry, viewers, but this is a step down into the gutter compared to Honey and Clover because I have been
That's
watching
not normal.
Secure Pure Engagement.
Oh, I
Oh,
had him from Dave. Shocker.
Well, to be honest with you, I just wanted to get it out of the way, so I marathoned it the other Saturday, and I was pleasantly surprised actually because I actually really enjoyed it. I found that the main protagonist, which I've forgotten his damn name, I found him to be a bit more interesting in the second series. In the first series, he is like a dishcloth, really. You just wouldn't want to bother using him. He's useless. Again, it's beyond me how he has all these girls hanging around him. He has got a bit more to his character in this one. He's still the dishcloth.
yeah.
That's the thing with Hadams.
He is still the
Why do
dishcloth.
why do all the guys in pretty much every Hadam they are the most basic character? I mean, maybe it's because the creators want to say, oh well, people can imprint their image
That's
onto
pretty
them and
much
think,
what.
oh, that's me. But the thing is that don't you think it'd be good if I had him actually main character, with some kind of personality trait or depth, and not just
Well, the problem
stop shoving
is
your boobs in my face. It's making me feel uncomfortable and awkward. And then in his head, he's just going, do it again, do it again.
that's what they always do, though.
But why? It's so annoying. Whenever you watch a Harem, it's always the guy that's completely plain that gets the massive group of girls to follow him around and fall in love with him.
Because, like you said, the idea is to have the character be imprinted. This is something you told me. I remember when I was complaining about it. That was the point that you made to me. I was that was the one that I'd now taken as fact.
I
Is it
will,
I'm
they
quite
make him
proud of
as plain
myself
as
now.
possible, so the people watching can then print themselves on them. And also another thing that when you think that a lot of harems are adapted from visual novels, adult ones specifically, but
Oh
when you
yeah.
like when you play those, you play it through the eyes of the first person, and normally you can actually obviously probably just change the name of the main character anyway. That's just how empty the main character is. So when they actually have like to create one, or if there is one already, like you don't really even see him from the actual thing that the anime is being adapted from. So
But they do that and stuff. They do that with stuff even if it doesn't involve sex or romance.
Yeah,
Just
I know.
get
I'm
you
just
invested
like,
in the character.
yeah.
See, but if you can change your name, I could just imagine someone just being instead of his name being like John or Bob, it's like Professor Bobag. Like Professor Bobag, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to come for another hour. Dinner isn't even ready yet. Oh no! Oh no!
Mm,
I'd play that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
It's like creating your own character in Saints Row. You're never serious about it.
yeah.
It's like green skin and massive boobs. It's walking around as a massive sensor.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
who's your favorite character, Dave?
Well, I didn't
Which
get into. I was going to say that apart from like I said, he's a bit of a dishcloth. I found the actual stories to be better. I found that there was a lot more action in the second series.
mm,
Um, there was a lot more tension as well, and the ending was rather explosive as well, which I liked.
yeah.
I think it's leading open to yet another series,
Yeah, that's the plan, but it looks like
but
it's
it.
not might not happen because it's been
Where's
a
my
Well,
Where's my third season of Baka and Test? Damn it!
I agree.
Well, you've had two Bucker and Test seasons since the last one of Sekiro is finished, but not that I'm demanding a third season of Sekiro, but
Well, the thing is,
it's a hair
Sekiri
of like
had
I
two
didn't hate it. It
seasons.
made me laugh. Just
Sekiri had 2 seasons and an OVA. Bakuman had 2 seasons and an OVA. They're equal, and Baka and Test should get more.
right.
Damn it!
This is what got me with Sekiro was the fact that I thought, okay, this is obviously going to go down the same cliches as, like I've said with other shows of that genre, and basically through the whole show, you don't have them go down that cliche whatsoever, and then you get the OVA, which of course is the
What do you mean?
whole
No, come on, Dave.
swimming, the swimming
Oh, yeah,
episode,
yeah. I know that like the
the hot
OVA
tub
is like
episode, or
truly
the hot spring
ridiculous.
episode, and of course the weird one was the measurements.
Yeah.
That just felt really weird to watch that.
Yeah, the thing is with measurements is that whenever you watch a show like that, there's always a scene where all the girls are alone without the guy and they start talking about breast sizes, and you just have to think like, remember we were talking earlier on Skip It, you're just like, do they really do that? And then someone just says, no, they don't, and you're like, ah, that would have been awesome. Walking around with a tape measure, grabbing people, just doing strange things for a while, and then saying, oh well, we're still friends. That would never work out, but still, it's just like, why? Why would you even put that in?
You know, it's just fan service, isn't it? But I will say that it wasn't an exciting show, obviously, because it's not one of those ones that would be up there on my highest rating system anyway. But I still found it to be enjoyable.
I liked it.
Despite the
I
amount of
didn't love
fans
it, but
in
I
it.
liked it.
No, that's how I felt. I liked it, but I didn't love it, and it's definitely not a highlight of this year.
I liked it
Would you
for
get?
Tsukumi, basically. She made me laugh a lot.
Yep.
Would
I
you guys
actually like her
recommend it?
a bit.
Would I
Because I've
recommend it? I guess if you are the kind of person who loves that kind of genre and you love, the fact that you've got a guy who's surrounded by a bunch of beautiful women that have low ambitions, then go for it.
see, I've always
Basically,
been put off by the show simply because the tagline is "boobies for the win."
yeah, but that's an awesome tagline.
Well,
It is. It's full of those. The
It,
whole show, it's full of them.
well,
Every
considering the
episode,
front,
all the
if you
time.
look at the front cover, you don't even need the phrase "boobies for the win" because you can immediately think, "Oh well, I know what this show's gonna be."
Yeah. I
Mm.
would have
you read
probably
the
hated
read the
it if it wasn't for
synopsis.
Takumi.
Read the synopsis on the back cover, and it's like, how many puns do you think they can try and get in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how they do that with the back cover of a harem show. It's always just like, oh, it's all these puns everywhere.
It'd be like something of like, will they become the breast of friends?
Like the back, the back,
Something like that.
the back cover of Strike Witches. War is pants. These girls fight in theirs, so we can stay in ours. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
That is just insane.
I like the one which was still winning the war on pants.
Yeah. Although I will say that show is a bit dodgy simply because pretty much every single girl is under the legal age. So the fact that they made that show with the certain intentions, it's a bit creepy.
Every single girl that ever appears in any harem,
Thanks for that.
like, is underage.
But they
All of
don't
them.
look they don't look underage, but Strike Witches went out of their way to make them look underage, which is
Strike
why it's
Witches,
creepy.
Sekirei, flipping Ikitosen, any of them. They're all
Monster.
underage. Every single fucking one. It's like, you just take
But
that as
they
is.
don't. It's like Gurren Lagann, right? Yoko is only 14. She's the same age as Simon, or Simon, however the fuck you pronounce his name.
Like,
But she's the same age, and yet she snogs an adult, and every single person like, oh, it's okay, and then
he's
they're
not an adult
told,
though.
In
and
love.
nobody knows that she's 14 years old.
Hmm.
She's 14. How is that even possible? She looks so much like
I don't know, I
any
kissed a girl
image.
when I was 14, so I don't know what you guys were doing.
I didn't know we were going into it like
I know, Grant said
that.
it's impossible. I was like, well, I did it. So fucking you with you.
No, she's a 14-year-old that walks around in a bikini with massive boobs and a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
You're just like anime logic. You don't even mention it. That's just how it goes. If you even think about the logic of an anime, you're not going to
Well, the
enjoy it.
only logic really is that this show, those shows, especially like Gurren Lagann, as your example is that they're aimed at boys that are at high school. So if you put the girls at that age, that's what they want. Like, they want the high school age girls because they're the ones that they're surrounded by. Basically, they're not
Yeah.
thinking about, yeah.
The Japanese schoolgirls must be awesome because if everyone looks like
No,
Yoko,
they're
that's
all
pretty
as
awesome.
plain as you see.
That's a very strange misconception. That is.
I'm sad now. I thought they all looked like Yoko. My dreams have been shattered.
I will say that obviously because of it is one of those sort of double-edged swords as we've said before, but it is kind of like they do all this anime, they make all these girls beautiful. Of course, they're accessible as well. You know, you can put on Sekiro, boobs, awesome. They're there. It's easy. Whereas going out talking to a real girl,
It's a pit.
getting to the point of boobs, awesome, is going to be very harder than actually just putting a DVD in, and that's probably why Japan's population is falling.
I know this is a bit of a weird thing to mention, but someone on a website mentioned it. You know how in all these things when they mention the boobs, there's always these big light things. You have to think that person must feel pretty bad that they spent more time putting shine on a pair of tits than they did actually doing anything productive.
They might have enjoyed it. You never know. Could you imagine the title for the job? You know, it's like, what do you do? I'm the tit shiner. I
I,
put the
I
shines on the tits.
You know that scene in that one show where they were shaking and there was a lot of light glistening? That was me. That's right. I'm not in the
Anyway,
credits or anything.
what did you watch, Grant? Your last thing before we finish, because we've been going
Hmm.
long. So,
How long we
Hmm.
been going for?
I wonder what I've been watching. Well, I watched the first two episodes of My Little Monster. That was interesting. I don't think
what's
you two
that?
have actually seen it before. It's a show on Crunchyroll, and if you've seen it, the picture is like a girl and she has a chain around some guy in the background. You know that one?
No,
Yeah. Okay.
don't know. Kind of.
Dave, 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 you've mentioned My Little Monster before, but you've never actually seen it. I
I haven't
decided
mentioned it. When?
you mentioned it like on a list of things that people said you should watch on the site. You mentioned it. I thought, I've saw that before. So
I
I
don't
st
know. When did I write
so
it down? I can't remember.
so I started watching the first two episodes, and I immediately thought this makes no sense whatsoever. Right? It's supposed to be some romance show, right? And you're supposed to feel things for the characters,
No.
but it's kind of hard to feel things for the characters in their relationship when the guy spouts out that he loves the girl in the first episode.
Well,
Well,
No,
well, not really. If it means he's going to spend the rest of it trying to win her over,
yeah.
well, no,
No.
because the
then that
fact
makes
is
sense.
that by the second episode, the girl falls in love with him.
Yeah.
They've only known each other for a couple of days, and it's so confusing
It looks like a really
because
good-looking show. To turns
It
about.
is a good.
Blaze is gonna go and check it out now.
The
Yeah, so
animation.
I was looking at the screenshots in Anime Planet and like the watercolor approach to some of the backgrounds and
Oh yeah,
the
it is
high
a
detail
very.
foreground and stuff.
I
Looks
can't
really
find
good.
this anyway. I give up.
It's very good animation. The show was by Brainspace.
Yeah, they're really good studio.
Yeah. Milo, it's an okay show. It's not amazing. The first two episodes, this is his first impression. The genre is romantic comedy. I'd have to say it's one of the more quirky ones. I don't know how the chain becomes involved because in episode two there's nothing to do with a chain, and also the characters aren't really likable.
I'm hoping it gets licensed next week at Anime Expo because I'm looking at it's highly rated on Anime Planet. It's in the top 300. It's
Oh, no
tag
doubt.
I
You
like.
actually
It looks fantastic, and it's recommendations are a lot of other shows that I like. So yes, it's certainly piqued my interest already. So I'm
the
hoping it
show
gets
is pretty
licensed.
good. I will say I've only saw the first two episodes. It is going in a good direction. It is getting better. It
Mm.
is a good show. I'm going to continue watching it. I do recommend you guys watch it as well. But the first episode and the characters so far, they're not as good as I expected from, the images that I'd seen, but it is pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go and check my queue now because I don't remember mentioning it. But then again, BDT87 might have suggested it to me.
Yeah. Also, Chihaya Furu, that's a pretty damn good show. I remember
yeah, that's
BDT
why
recommended that.
I
I
really want to see that, but it got licensed in Australia. I know it's on Crunchyroll. At least the
Just
second season.
just watch it in Crunchyroll. All 50 episodes are there. Just watch them. They're pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
I don't know because like I'm kind of waiting for NIS America to license it because it seems like their sort of show,
Oh
and the
yeah,
fact
it's
that no
definitely
one
going
else
to
has
show their
picked it up
face.
yet, it seems quite.
But the thing is, what has NIS America actually released?
Well,
Have they actually
they've
even have
released.
they even announced anything
Yeah,
recently?
yeah,
Have they?
they're putting out Euro
oh, I don't want to watch it. Get off.
one and two soon. Yuri, in case you didn't catch. Yeah,
Oh yeah, that show.
yeah, they're putting that out
Oh
soon
yeah, I remember
next week.
hearing about that.
And they've got
Yeah,
Daily
Yuru
Lives of
Yuri.
High School Boys, which I can't wait to buy. And that comes out in August, so technically next month by the time anyone's hearing this. So
I
yeah,
think I've heard of that.
yes, it's a good
Daily Life.
quality.
Okay, for anyone who's interested in My Little Monster, it's an impassive girl meets troublemaker in brand new love story. After Mizutani Shizuku, a girl whose sole interest in studying, is asked to deliver some handouts to Yoshida Haru, a boy who hasn't come to school after spilling blood on the first day.
Hmm.
She finds herself the target of his affection. This is a story about a boy and a girl who struggle with love and friendship. Opening yourself up to other people forces you to be honest with yourself.
The thing is that the description there, they're acting like it's a brand new concept, but it's basically
Mm.
the bad boy, good girl concept, isn't it? It's been
Yeah,
done a lot.
I don't know.
I'm lost on the spilling blood.
That's just the
Yeah, that's
first thing.
basically the guy. He's trying to protect some younger kids from older kids, and he beats the shit out of them,
Oh,
and then he gets suspended and doesn't want to come back because he feels cheated.
okay.
And he's like, "The world hates me. I'm never going back to school." It's basically the kind of little kid approach to what would happen. I'm
Get,
never going back to school again.
mm,
Uh,
and don't like them, you mean?
yeah, the guy is kind of childish, but I guess that adds to his character. He is pretty cool at times, and there are some really awesome moments even in the first two episodes. I
I'll have to check that out.
I can definitely see it getting better, that's for sure. But Chihaya Furu, I think I'm still in episode 14 or 15. I've been on that for over a month. I've just kind of stopped and forgotten.
It's in my queue. I will get round to it at some point.
Uh, Siren Visual in Australia are releasing the first season very soon, if not already.
Mm.
A show I want licensed in America is Nichijou.
Yeah, yeah, I think that'll probably get. Honestly, Anime Expo coming this week. Anyone, if you put this up before Thursday, everyone needs to listen or keep track because you're going to see so many fantastic anime get picked up. Last year, Sentai Filmworks licensed 15 things over the course of that. Like, well, not licensed literally right then, but they announced that they'd licensed like 15 separate things. Funimation was about six. About 30 things are going to be announced as being licensed in America this time next week. We'll know of 30 things, so it's really cool. I can't
But
wait.
with Sentai Filmworks, don't you think they might go down the route ADV did? Because basically they are ADV in another form. But the problem with ADV is what happened with them is they licensed too much shows that didn't do well, and they
They
pretty much failed.
Yeah, they were under bad management. Like they were licensing stuff for way too much money. Like they were paying ridiculous. Like they paid almost $1 million for like Karu Phantom Memory, which wasn't even a very well received show in Japan and stuff. They were just under ridiculous management. Like the guy that was running it at the time was practically just trying to run them into the ground. And Sento Filmworks, they're like subtitle only type thing, and they
Wait,
don't
well,
pay
it's
too
usually
much money.
dub if it's Blu-ray.
Huh?
It's dub if it's Blu-ray usually.
Not always though, but yeah, pretty much. Like the fact
I
they don't
think
dub everything, they know what they're doing. Like so, even though they're licensing loads of stuff, and another thing is that Japanese companies can't charge as much to the American companies when they're trying to license it because it's not as popular as it once was in America. Like the giant anime boom of the early 2000s is long since gone, and like ADV and Genyun and Bandai have became victims of that. Bandai more to do with the global uh, repression afterwards, or whatever the right term is.
recession.
Yeah, recession. So yeah, global repression.
They're repressing our love of anime. Fight the
Yeah,
power, man.
Roll, roll.
it's pretty much every Gundam basically then.
Row, row,
Global
fight the
repression.
oppression, mother fudges.
Anyway, yeah, so I think that's pretty much the end of this episode because we're running ridiculously long and don't want to go too long. So, do you want to wrap it up, Grant?
I guess so.
Go on then.
Well,
Any minute.
uh, okay, I'll wait a minute then, won't I? No. Okay, so this has been Bro Taku. I have had Rock God Itachi, Blaze Vincent, and myself, Anime Fangirl 62. We hope you enjoyed. I guess we'll speak to you next time. Bye.
Sayonara.
Bye.